Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 77 of the 40k Badcast. My name is Dan Boyd, and I am joined by, well, he's big. He's enormous, in fact. He stretches over miles and miles of land and is made up of water droplets suspended in the air. I am, of course, talking about Cumulus McBoomulus.
Okay, Boomulus.
Yes.
I thought you were going to go with Cumulo McNimbus instead of making up a whole new word.
No, sir. I am on a different level.
So
a better level, a higher level.
I think, in my opinion, as a not weather person, that cumulus clouds can be the regular ones, but ones that are thunder clouds should be called boomulus clouds.
I agree. The reason I bring that up is because, listeners, this won't matter to you in the final version because I will obviously have to have had cut it out. But the weather here right now is very bad. So if we lose power, there might be some weird choppiness in the episode. You're just going to have to deal with that. Weather in Virginia, Campbell. Oh, boy. We've had, before this, we had 21 days straight of 90 degrees or higher and no rain.
I'm still kind of in awe that you've tried to convince me to move near you on more than one occasion in light of things like this.
The only reason I want you to move near me is because I want to see you more.
I also would like that, but I also don't want to die.
Anyways, now that we've had our 3 weeks of horrible dry weather, we are moving into the monsoon season, and every day this week has been a torrential downpour and huge thunderstorm in the afternoon. So
monsoon
it's fun.
Season is such a cursed phrase.
Hey, bud, it's the South. Though I will say Virginia is probably the least southern of the southern states, which is a good thing. I would argue that Pennsylvania is more southern than Virginia.
I mean, I'd argue that parts of Connecticut are more southern than Virginia, but who am I to judge?
Oh, a cat is visiting me now. I have 3 of them, you know.
Oh,
one of them.
do.
Speaking of thunderstorms, one of them is terrified of rain and thunder. Oh. And so what my wife did was in a bookshelf that I haven't put anything on the bottom shelf yet here in the basement. She has used the Games Workshop case that holds my old Raven Guard vehicles as a blocker for the bottom level of that bookshelf. So Sophie, our fluffiest and most scared cat, can go hide in there during the rain.
Well, I mean, who's to say old models don't have a use somewhere?
Exactly.
Because currently, my cat Numi is watching the chimney swifts in the graveyard because I guess, I don't know, they're fun birds to watch if you're a cat.
Yeah,
and if you're a person, really.
I mean,
I keep calling them chimney swoops, which is not what they're called.
No, chimney swifts are wonderful. They look like little flying cigars.
Yeah. And then they become little flying boomerangs attached to flying cigars. They're great.
Yeah.
They're eating all the dragonflies.
So I mentioned this weather. Well, I mentioned the weather because it might impact the show recording somewhat. But Campbell, you have a lawn.
I do have a lawn as of like 2 days ago.
I also have a lawn, and 3 weeks of no rain means that, hey, you don't really have to mow because the grass isn't fucking growing. Right. But now that we've had a solid 3 nights, and this will be the 4th night of extreme downpour, the grass has decided to, attempt to take over everything. So the thing is, about 4 weeks ago, though, my lawnmower broke and I haven't replaced it yet. And I don't know about you, bud, but the last thing I want to do is go to Home Depot and buy a fucking lawnmower.
Understandable.
I'm bringing it up because I want you to do it for me.
Oh, okay. You want me to mow your lawn for you?
No, I'll mow the lawn. I like that part. It's the going to Home Depot and buying the lawnmower is the big stumbling block at this point.
I feel like there's got to be a sort of personal shopper sort of thing where if you're getting personal shoppers from out of state, then you're definitely a level of bourgeois I cannot even aspire to.
Well, no, you would just do it for me because you're my friend.
Oh, okay. So I'd be paid in friendship.
You would not be paid.
Not even in friendship.
Just want to make that clear.
So the thing that's more important than the fact that I have a lawn I need to fucking drown with water a few times a day because it's sod and it's not taken yet is something that I personally, channeling my own dad energy here, is I have a patio and I am thrilled about this new patio.
Oh, so last episode I was thrilled and now this episode you're thrilled.
No, the thrill is mine this time around. So the thing is, it's big enough. It gets full shade once you're past like 3 p.m.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be doing some like very tentative socially distanced outdoor gaming while the weather's nice enough.
Fuck yes, dude.
Yeah. And we even got an exterminator to come by and kill all the yellow jackets that were living in our gutters.
Dog, I have a screened in porch. I could do the same thing.
Yeah. You can like, I feel like we could maybe eventually do a segment sometime in the future on like how to do this hobby the safest now.
Well, we should probably practice that and then hopefully not get coronavirus.
Yes. So check back in 3 weeks to make sure none of us are dead.
All right. Well, that's enough bullshit. Maybe we should get into the other bullshit.
Yeah, but let's get into the bullshit that we signed up for. And the listener also signed up for.
The on-topic bullshit. All right, let's get into the aspects where we talk about what's up on our hobby radar. Jesus, I never fucked that one up, but I did today. This bodes well. I'm drinking an 8% beer over here, so
oh boy, this is an episode of firsts.
This will be great. All right, hobby progress. I am almost done with these infiltrators. Very, very close to being done with the last round of highlights going on. And homeboy, I absolutely love these models.
I'm glad you do. I know you like painting the tactical jorts armor more than I do.
Oh, it's so good. It's these fucking things look so cool. They got little gribblies all over them, antennas, grenades, pouches. It's like a Rob Liefeld or Liefeld illustration on a Space Marine. And that intersection right there is extremely me.
I mean, if you want to really take it one step further, you could cut off the smoke grenade hand or the smoke from that smoke grenade of the one infiltrator throwing the smoke grenade and just glue it in front of his feet so you wouldn't have to paint the feet.
You know what? That's good. That's a good joke. Is it a joke? I don't know. Reference? I don't know. That's good, and I appreciate it.
It's a good attempt at a joke, maybe?
It wasn't, okay, I don't want to call it a joke because it wasn't funny. But it was interesting.
You're not funny. You're just interesting.
Yeah.
A sentence I probably heard at least twice while dating.
Yeah, I was about to say I got that a lot. So that's actually my favorite model of this whole crew. And I think it's like, quite honestly, one of the best Space Marine models Games Workshop has ever even put out.
It's good. Yeah, it's really good.
Put out. That's fun. Games Workshop puts out. The sluts over at Games Workshop. Okay, sorry.
The company that fucks.
I know they listen to this podcast. Sorry, gang. Very sorry. Anyways, so I've got some excitement happening inside my body right now.
Okay. Unleash that excitement for all of us.
Yesterday, I got an email about how my Indomitus box is shipping.
Fuck yeah.
So that means within, I don't know, 5 to 6 days, it'll be at my house.
Nice.
And that means I can open it and start playing with it.
Yeah.
And I am extraordinarily excited to work on some of these new models. Most notably, most notably, the Eradicators, because of the shitty reason that they're real fucking good. And I'm getting 3 in that box. I'm by Chris Stover, our friend Chris Stover. He bought 4 Indomitus boxes. He only meant to buy 3. But he ended up with a 4th accidentally, and I am buying at least the Eradicators from that box.
Nice.
So I'll be able to hang out with 2 groups of Eradicators, but they're real fucking good, my dude.
So I've heard. I have not really paid much attention to the rules. I just see swords and boards, and I'm excited.
Well, we could talk about that a little more in the games played section, but Bud, these Indomitus models, oof. Big oof, you could say.
But a positive big oof.
Oh, yeah. I'm really, really excited to get my hands on these because they look fantastique. And there's also Necrons, which I'll spray paint and give to my brother.
Hell yeah.
All right, homeboy. What about you?
So I, too, have a box of Indominus on lock. Jack over at the Bolter Hole, I got a pre-order with him, and Dylan will be picking that up on Saturday and parting out some of the stuff between the Necron and Space Marine players in our group. So I'll be swinging by to grab basically 2 sets worth of Marines.
Yeah.
So I'm trading the the Necron half off. So half that is earmarked for my Templars, half that is earmarked for my Ultramarines, and I'm real excited about that coming up.
Good.
Now, that's the future, though. So in the present, I'm working on 3 Demigryph Knights for my Empire. I finished 3 other Demigryph Knights since the last time we recorded, and in the interim time, I fear I may have become a father.
No, okay. So I thought you did a future, you did a present. I thought you were going to do a past bit here.
Yeah, that would have been good. That would almost be like I thought about this, but I clearly didn't think about this. I'm just rattling this off the dome. Smooth segue. I turned towards the past and I started working on some historicals. In this case, these are Napoleonics, which are Voltigeurs from Perry Miniatures, whomst I painted in the 13e ligne Voltigeur colors.
Oh,
and
good.
I am having such a good time with them.
Did you look up how to pronounce those words before the show?
Yes.
Yes. Did you?
I did. I looked it up. I wrote them out phonetically in my fucking notes here because they write third 3-E-M-E, and that's how you spell 13. And I would not have known what to say otherwise. I didn't want to make a complete ass of myself.
I'm looking at these miniatures right now on your Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
I
did post pictures like an hour ago.
They look great.
Thank you.
They are extremely a Campbell McLaughlin production.
Oh, I basically just painted Ultramarines again.
Yeah, no, they look great though. They are excellent.
Thank you. So I reached out to my dad just because I figured he'd be really excited about seeing me painting historicals.
Real quick interjection. Yeah. It's funny you say you reached out to your dad, like he's that notoriously
distant connection.
Yeah, notoriously difficult to contact. Mark McLaughlin. You reached out. Yeah. I reached out to my dad the other day. He hasn't gotten back yet.
Yeah, I decided to
reconnect
with my father after being estranged from him for about 13 hours between emails. So I sent him an email being like, hey, look, I painted some French guys. What do are these are cool? And I had like a few specific questions. He proceeded to link me to like half a dozen different Blogspot pages run by dads ranging from, dads to granddads to great granddads running these sorts of groups. And then he shared the pictures with his historical gaming buddies, and they had their own commentary, which I would like to share with you now.
Okay.
The painting of the figure is magnificent, Campbell. You ought to post on the Napoleonic Wargamer Group Facebook page. Of course, that may cause a cascade of discussions about the proper shade of blue of the coat or a more or less realistic white shade for the trousers. If you decide to paint a dragoon, don't even think about asking what the proper color mix should be for the coat. A different dad. Be aware that the figures you have are elite companies from the line formations, rather than the Légier regiments. These latter had pointed cuffs, and historical wargamers will notice this. In fact, a small number of Légier regiments had the same cuffs as the line regiments, but manufacturers always go with the majority case when describing the figures. It is not, you see, simply a matter of a different paint job. I bid you joy of it. The Perry figures are great fun to paint, and having seen some of your work, I'd be interested to see what you make of them.
Oh my god! Wow, that's great.
They
seamlessly blended praise for your paint job with scorn for your lack of knowledge about specific French regiments from what I can only guess is the 1800s.
Yes, 1809 to 1817, I think, is on the box. But yeah, I'm beyond the valley of the dads right now.
Yeah, wow, that is like the. Oh man, that's honestly, that's the kind of like bullshit gatekeeping. I'm so like that has always kept me out of historicals. That keeps me that keeps me out of 30K. Well, that and the
terrible rules, but yeah,
that it's still fucking 7th edition over there. Where like with our stupid fantasy setting, our sci-fi fantasy setting, whatever that for 40K, like. Oh my God! You didn't paint your Cadians right. Oh, how dare you? Nobody fucking gives a shit about that, right?
Yeah, outside of in the context of their own army. Well, I was talking to I was on Anwal's working like batch painting the group of 7 of these guys or whatever, and I was getting a little tired of painting the cufflinks and the lines around the cuffs and the buttons and like the little details are very easy to miss, and I was getting a little fed up with it. And she was like, "You're just mad because you can't paint caution stripes wherever you want."
It's true.
She has my number.
Well, you could.
You could, but I would be honed out of Historicon 2021.
Yeah, the dads would not accept that from you whatsoever.
I got to get in with those dads now.
You got to get
still
in.
time.
Got to get in with the dads. Yeah. Well,
hi, Numi.
Your models do look great despite their potential historical inaccuracies, which I am going to look past because we are friends and I don't want to bog you down with irrelevant detail.
But enough about historical wargaming.
Oh, the pedantry. All
Still,
right.
though, I'll be painting more. I think I'm really looking forward to painting, Space Marines and so on again, but I'll be painting more at some point. I think they'll be a good sort of like palette cleanser because pair of miniatures come like 40 dudes to a box, so I've got plenty.
Okay. Have you played any games?
I played one game of Blitz Bowl with Beersy. It was probably the closest I've ever come to winning a game. I still didn't win, but it was the closest I've ever come to winning a game. And
Did you play this on Tabletop Simulator?
Yes, I did.
How was that?
Oh, it was great. The Blitz Bowl mod for that is made by the Crush podcast guys, and resultantly, like, it's got everything you need. It's pretty wonderful. I played as Chaos. He played as Skaven. Chaos have some cool things where their Beastmen can run, mark, and fight instead of just doing, run, mark, fight as 3 actions, which is really cool, which gave me a bit of a leg up against his super squishy Skaven. But there is one rule in the game I don't love, which is that if you're 10 points ahead at the end of your opponent's turn, you automatically win. I've never known what that feels like to be, on the 10 points ahead side, but there was a point where the game was like 16-2, and the game could have ended right then, like very early on. And I'm really glad it didn't, because it meant that I got to have like a real comeback game. Like I got right up to like I was just about in the lead until the very end. He had a touchdown on the final turn and pulled off the win. And I feel like missing out on that sort of drama and that sort of fun is just like not the reason I would want to play the game. So I'm glad we ignored that rule, and we had a lot of fun just playing.
All right. You could play Blood Bowl, right?
I could, but a friend of mine described that as a Byzantine labyrinth of rules, and Blitz Bowl is nice and straightforward.
Blood Bowl is not a Byzantine labyrinth of rules. It's one of the simplest games out there from Games Workshop.
I mean, again, I'll try it at some point.
Who
I will try
said
it at
this
a point.
to you?
I'm not going to name them because I think you know them too, and I don't want them to be on your shit list.
They're not going to be on my shit list. I just want to tell them that they're wrong and also stupid. All right, let's move on. I played some games.
Yeah, tell me about them.
I played 9th edition 40k.
Jealous.
In person.
Or jealous.
I played a couple of games over the weekend. Mike Brandt did a thing at his house. And we tried to keep it, as safe as we could for playing games, which is probably not the safest activity out there, but isn't the least safe activity out there. So if I come down with coronavirus, hey gang, I'll let you know. And this will be what did it. So first game,
our final episode of the 40k Badcast.
God, let's hope not. First game was against this fellow Brett, who I don't know very well, but he seems like a very nice guy, and his Death Guard.
Oh, nice.
And this was a very good game. It was well thought. It was pretty close, and it was a lot of fun. Death Guard, holy shit, they're tough. I haven't played against Death Guard in a while, and they just don't fucking die.
Yeah, that sounds about right. That's how it was at the start of 8th anyway when I played against them.
So highlights of this game include my Eliminators killing a Demon Prince.
Hell yeah.
They sniped a Demon Prince down, and that was joyous. I really enjoyed that. Eradicators. Okay, so I don't have any Eradicator models, but I took my Aggressor models, who are the same size and the same unit size, same base size and same unit size, and I proxied them. I don't usually do proxies, but I was like, I've heard a lot about these Eradicators. They're pretty good. Give them a shot. And hoo boy, Campbell, these fucking things are real good. Like, real good. They have a rule called like obliteration or something.
Okay. And is it called obliteration, comma, or something?
No,
all
I think it's called total obliteration.
Okay.
And they can fire twice if they shoot everything at the same target.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. That's the thing. Like if you math it out, it can take out a Redemptor in one round of shooting or something like that.
Yeah. Well, it's real strong.
I believe it.
And of course, Raven Guard has the strike from the shadow stratagem, which allows you to just pay a CP to put a unit in for deep strike, which I did with the Eradicators. And so they got to show up on the table, wherever the hell I wanted them to.
Nice.
Within 9 inches of the enemy, and their Melta rule happens at 12 inches because they have 24-inch guns. So they're just like, oh, boom, they're here, and they're melting all your Plague Burst Crawlers. But here's the thing. Plague Burst Crawlers are so fucking tough that when the Eradicator showed up, they didn't actually kill any. They knocked them down to like 4 and 5 wounds apiece, but they didn't actually kill them, which was fine because a 5 wound Plague Burst Crawler is hitting my Marines on a 6 generally. So it wasn't that big of a deal, but man, those things are fucking good.
Hell yeah.
One funny thing about this game, Brett, he could not make an armor save at all, like during the game. But oh man, this guy was making disgustingly resilient 5-up saves and invulnerable saves, like his life fucking depended on it. It was pretty wild.
Have you ever had people like that in your regular gaming groups before? Because there's a guy in my old Dorka Morka crew, Fred, and if he had a unit of Space Marines and he rolled like 8 saves, they would fucking 7 of them would die. But if he had a unit of Zinch Horrors or whatever, like anything with a 5-up invulnerable save, you would see nothing but 5s and 6s all day.
Yeah, I'm starting to think that that's Brett's deal. 3-ups, nope, can't do it. 5-ups, he's got them. Not even a problem. But yeah, it was a great game. Brett's a real fun guy, and I look forward to playing him again.
Nice.
And if you're wondering, I did win.
Well, I mean, I was waiting with bated breath, but I wasn't going to make you say it.
Well, it was a very close fought game, and I enjoyed it.
Nice.
It came down to the end, and just for a game, for my first game in 9th, I couldn't be happier with it.
Hell yeah.
But then I played Christover's Tau in the second game.
I'm sorry.
And I got fucking hosed.
Yeah, that goes without saying. But
absolutely fucking hosed. I think the score was like 92-40 or some bullshit. Like it was real bad. He took 3 Cold Stars and 3 Riptides, and just like I did not have enough shooting in my Marine list to take care of them. To take the Riptides out. And so it was just like I set up my stuff and slowly removed it from the table.
Yep, that sounds like a typical game with Christover.
This is not only a typical game with Christover, but a typical game against Tau. Chris is a friend of mine, so it was fun to hang out with him. But the game was bad and honestly not really worth talking about.
Do you want to hang out and put your models away with me? Yeah. It's only going to take 45 minutes.
Yeah, I think there was a path to victory with this game. Mm-hmm. But
mathematically, I don't believe that.
No, I think there was. And I think so in 9th edition, deployment and first turn are not linked like they were in 8th.
Okay.
So in 9th edition, you deploy and then you figure out who has first turn. So I got first turn in that game, and I took it because there's honestly, a pretty good case for always taking first turn. But we're not the podcast for that, so whatever.
No.
I think if I had deployed extremely aggressively, I could have made a bunch of first turn charges, and rocked his shit. If I had made the choice to just be like, fuck it, everybody's going in the front. If I don't get first turn, the game will be over in 2 turns. That would have been better because it would have been a lot faster. And had I got first turn, I honestly think I could have won. But no, I deployed very defensively and just got picked off bit by bit without able to get into his castle whatsoever because Riptides, they're just like, oh, now they have a 3 invulnerable.
Oh.
And, they're surrounded by 40 drones.
Oh.
And so even if you do shoot them, the drones just eat the shots.
Ugh, that bites.
Or they don't, and it's just like 3 up invulnerable. Go for it. Fuck you.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's a system that really sucks.
Yeah, love
that whole thing. And hopefully it'll change sometime in the future. But no, I think I could have done it if I had thrown caution to the wind and got first turn. And if I hadn't, the game would have been a lot shorter. So next time I play Christopher's Tau or a triple Riptide list, I'm just going to fucking go for it and see what happens. And if I lose, then I'll lose quickly.
I mean, that's kind of the silver lining about deploying aggressively against Tau is if you lose, you do lose quickly.
Yeah, I think that's the new strat.
It's a speed run, any percentage. Get tabled by Tau.
All right, so that was a fun day, actually playing some Warhammer. Look forward to doing it again in the future at some point, though. Coronavirus cases are on the rise everywhere, including Virginia, though it's not super sharp in my area. So I think I will not be doing anything like that for the foreseeable future.
Understandable. I'm planning on keeping it like very like one person at a time, spaced out far enough to make sure I'm not going to catch anything or whatever as best I can.
Yeah, smart. Anyways, let's move on to new stuff. Now, in my notes here, I don't have a whole lot of new stuff. I know that a multi-part Blade Guard Veterans kit was spotted today on the internet by some sharp-eyed hobbyist. And then Games Workshop on their Warhammer community Twitter page tweeted out an actual picture that wasn't grainy and terrible of the same vets. So that's very interesting and fun.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of expecting this to be a lot like the Dark Imperium box where, you know, it's like, oh, we have multi-part kits for 3/4 of the things in the box. Good luck if you want the rest.
The characters never got multi-part kits, did they?
Yeah, you got lieutenants, sort of, but there's no Gravis Captain and there's no Primaris Ancient out there in any other way. But it's whatever. I'm getting 2 of this box set. I'm not too worried.
Yeah, and honestly, the Blade Guard vets are not what I'm super excited about.
I mean, they are what I'm super excited about. The fact that there's characters who also have the shields is like even better. Because like we were talking the other night, and I was like, "This box is full of." You're like, "I'm here for the bikes," and I was like, "I'm here for the swords," and you're like, the bikes have swords.
Yeah, they do.
Like, oh yeah, I guess you're right about that.
I'm all about meltaguns and motorcycles, my dude. That's my new shit.
That's your alliterative shit right there.
There you go. That's fun. But other than that, I don't think there's a whole lot going on because they're in the pre-order zone still for Indomitus, and that's kind of a big release.
Yeah, it is. I'm glad they're doing a made-to-order run of it too, because they sold out in approximately half a second.
2 minutes. Yeah, 2 minutes.
So I'm glad people are actually able to get those instead of going to eBay scalpers for like, I think I saw one scalper posting it for like $1,100 or some stupid shit like that.
Yeah. And then I remember somebody on the internet was complaining about how like their life is, or I'm sorry, not their life, their work is basically eBay scalping. Is like what they do for a job, and like they're really mad that Games Workshop was producing more Indomitus kits because it like ruins their income. And to that I just say too fucking bad.
Please, someone think of the parasites.
Okay, let's move on to We Make Duck Call.
Hell yeah!
All right, this one is from Chad Sexington.
Real name. Strong Christian name.
Via a comment on our website.
Okay.
I love this one. This is so stupid. Toilet paper in the 41st millennium. Still a thing? Where do they get all the paper pulp? All right, Campbell, come on, hit me. What is your theory for how people wipe themselves in the 41st millennium?
I imagine the chief export of any planet is skulls. And I imagine that the skull is kind of just used for a bit of everything. So I would not be surprised. Like, clearly, skulls are used for essentially wallpaper. They're clearly used as more or less spackle for things ranging from bricks to flooring to walls of themselves.
It's a load-bearing skull.
Exactly. Don't mess with a load-bearing skull. Don't try to make it talk. I think that there's definitely a strong case to be made for powdered skull being somehow reconstituted into some sort of toilet paper.
All right. Counterpoint.
Okay.
You've seen Demolition Man.
I have seen Demolition Man. Oh, you go to the bathroom and there's the 3 skulls.
Exactly. Not the 3 shells, but the 3 skulls. And how do you use it? Come on. We all know how to use the 3 skulls.
I also imagine there's some sort of...
Hey, can you believe this guy over here? He doesn't know how to use the 3 skulls.
I imagine that's true for Imperials. I imagine For Eldar, they can sort of magic the poop away, sort of.
Harry Potter style.
Yeah, like a real, a real J.K. Rowling-esque retcon right there. Now,
is there ever been an example of somebody just completely ruining their own shit like J.K. Rowling is doing right now?
Can you imagine how easy it would be to just not talk? Like, just don't tweet. Congratulations.
Well, we do a podcast.
We do a podcast. That's true. And we just keep doubling down on the stupid. But we don't have as much on the line.
Oh, we have very little on the line.
Exactly. We're just extremely online. Now, I feel like in the case of Chaos, you've probably got some sort of bidet situation, but I imagine it's more of a blood day.
It's just, I'm glad we both went there.
It's the blood day, yeah.
Well, I think it actually depends on which Chaos God is your patron. Because if it's corn, it's obviously blood. If it's Nurgle, it's obviously pus.
Pus, yeah.
If it's Slaanesh, it's clearly cum.
It's the jizz bidet, yeah.
And if it's Tzeentch, it's, dealer's choice.
It's fire, actually.
Oh, no. Oh, gross.
It's just a bunch of Tzeentch cultists lighting their farts on fire in reverse.
The jizz bidet. Oh, talk about a pull quote.
A while ago,
baby.
Rob got mad at me for having fuck in the title of one of our episodes because we post him on Goonhammer too, and for whatever reason, he doesn't want fuck to be on the URLs. I'm really curious how he'd feel about jizz bidet in the URL.
Well, we're just going to have to fucking find out. All right, fuck you, Rob. Okay, here we go. That's it, Chad. Sorry, that's all you get. We're not curious about paper pulp whatsoever. So, deal with that. I mean, thanks for writing in and everything. But also, fuck you.
Thank you. You're welcome. Fuck you.
Okay, let's move on to our stupid segment. Of the show. Sharp-eared listeners might figure it out that we generally bookend stupidity with the stupid segment, the serious segment, and serious in air quotes there, and the fact or fan fiction, and that's how we do it because you want to have a little bit of variety there.
It's a comedy sandwich.
All right, this one you suggested to me that we do this segment. I think last night, might have been the night before. And I want to get the correct quote here.
Okay.
What I said. Okay. I'm just gonna read this between you and me real quick. Campbell, name 3 characters and what their cookouts are like. What's on the grill, etc. Whomst amongst us is most thrilled about these ribs? And then we'd have to name which cookout the other person proposed that we'd go to. I'll think about other topics next.
I didn't.
Then I'll go back. Well, you didn't have to because I came back with this 5 minutes later. Okay, 40k Grillmasters. Who's cooking up the best barbecue in the 40k universe? This is so stupid, it might actually work. And that, listeners, is how we figure out segments here on the 40k Badcast.
I mean, for what it's worth, this is one of the segments where I pitched it and you said, you're going to have to do some work with me on this one, but
I didn't like it at first, but then I realized, you know what? Fuck it.
Yeah, no, it's time for Grillmasters of the chapter.
So here we go. 40k Grillmasters. We've each chosen 3 as per usual, and we're going to talk about what makes their grills, their cookouts the best, and then we're going to attempt to pick which is the favorite from each side. Okay, right. Campbell, I invite you to go first.
All right, the first Grillmaster, I think I would go, the first cookout I guess I'd go to, because, again, it's summer, baby. You can hop to a bunch of cookouts in one day if you really feel like it. I think I'd start by going to the Swarm Lords. So this is going to be a little unusual.
Okay,
but
all right.
The guy's got 4 swords. Yeah. He's always had this crazy good weapon skill and high initiative and stuff. So I imagine it's kind of like an extremely large hibachi chef.
Ooh.
And since Tyranids eat everything, you name it, it'll be on the grill. Beef, there's going to be whole cows.
Yeah.
Chickens, we're grilling the whole coop, motherfucker. Veggies, it's all biomass. Pizza, sure, why not? You, if you're not lucky, you could also be on the grill. But
if you're not careful.
It's a bit of both. You would just need to bring along a friend who can speak Tyranid, like maybe Tigurius, and they can help you identify what meats are so you don't accidentally eat your neighbor.
Tigurius doesn't speak Tyranid. He speaks, let's kill Tyranids.
He touched the hive mind and survived. I imagine if anyone can speak Tyranid, he's better off than most.
It's like Doogie Howser in that one movie that I reference every fucking episode, and I can't remember the name. Too.
Starship Troopers.
Thank you. There we go. I wanted to say Space Force, but that's a very different thing. That's a good show, though, Space Force. Or I like to call it Space Force.
About to say, what took you so long?
I had to go. I was still using my hands to talk.
Were you double chef kissing with both your hands?
Yes, I'm sorry. I was using my hands to talk before I hit the tarantella. I'm sorry.
That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah, you know how it is.
All right, I do understand.
The Swarmlord is like some sort of like horrific hibachi chef.
Yeah, he's a hibachi chef from hell, essentially.
Okay, well, one of my favorite things is kebabs, right?
Yeah.
And like bidet kebabs are made on skewers that look like swords. Mm-hmm. And so I would imagine that the Swarmlord has like 4 bidet skewers going on at the same time.
Ooh, yeah.
And to me, that right there is like, oh, bud, that is so far within my wheelhouse. It's like a tactical nuclear strike to my wheelhouse.
I mean, it's essentially just a pillar of meat, like of just living animal still on this giant sword. I'm so
hungry.
Yeah, no, this is a bad idea.
It's 5:23 Eastern right now.
Yeah.
PM. We don't record at 5:23 in the morning. I'm hungry, so this is not helping. All right. Swarmlord. That's a good one.
Yeah,
that's a good one. All right.
Start with the deep pull.
I'm gonna start with the Harlequins.
Just as an entire
collectively.
Okay.
Because it doesn't matter which troop you go to the cookout with.
I mean, I imagine if the troop is currently putting on a performance of like the Fall of the Eldar, that's not going to be quite as good as like the Eldar's trip to McDonald's.
Thing. Are you familiar with the dance group known as the Jabberwockies?
I am not. Please educate me.
Okay, there was like some one of those network, not like the Masked Singer, but like America's Next Best Dancing Group or some bullshit.
Okay.
That existed. And there was this dancing group called the Jabberwockies who all wear like baggy b-boy clothes and then white masks.
Okay.
And they wear gloves. So they're anonymous while they're dancing. Man, this really doesn't work if you don't have this reference ready for you. So I'm going to invite you, Campbell, to go quickly YouTube a Jabberwockies video. And if you are not familiar with that, listener, I will give you a few moments to do that.
Oh, it's Jabberwockies. Okay, not Jabberwockies. Okay. I would also have accepted Cirque du Flambe.
As what?
As another joke? A joke adjacent pun.
I don't like
it. Sorry, I'm distracted by these.
Are you watching the Jabberwockies?
Yeah, at the NBA Finals 2019.
Okay, so now you have an idea of what I'm talking about.
I know what a dance group is.
Yeah, but you have to. But it's about the look, Campbell.
Yeah, I get that.
It's about the look. How they're all wearing fucking masks and they're all making extremely awesome movements.
They are making extremely awesome movements.
I don't even want to talk about this anymore. God damn it, Campbell. God, you don't know anything.
No, I know. I'm not a man of culture.
You don't fucking know anything.
I'm not a man of culture who knows this particular dance group on a particular quiz show.
I come in here with like good fucking references and funny jokes, and you just sit there being like, what's that?
I'm sorry, I don't know what sports are.
This isn't sports, it's dance.
Well, it's at the NBA Finals. They're really good. I urge people to watch them. They're very good at dancing.
Anyways, that's what I feel like is the entertainment is going to be like at the Harlequins cookout.
Okay.
Food, I don't know what fucking Eldar eat. Crystals? Whatever. What do you got? Just completely rained on my parade.
What do Eldar eat?
I don't know. I have xenology over here. I could look it up.
I imagine it's mostly berries.
I'm telling you, it's fucking crystals or some bullshit. And it's not like sugar or salt crystals. It's like straight up crystals.
Just munching on a big old honk of quartz.
Delicious.
Yo,
give me that geode. Grilling up some geodes on the spirit grill because everything's got to be some it's like a Wraithbone grill powered by the spirits of fallen fire dragons.
I feel like Spirit Grill is what moves into an old Spirit Halloween come November 1st.
You know what? I am formally withdrawing the Harlequins cookout from the 40k Grillmasters. I don't want to go to that.
I'm sorry.
All right, what do you got?
All right, we're gonna get back to grill basics here, and I feel like Adthrax Agathon is gonna be manning that forge grill all fucking day.
Well, god damn it!
Did I steal one of yours?
Yeah, you. Jesus, Campbell.
I can file the numbers off and say Vulcan Hestan. These characters are fairly thinly illustrated.
That's what I said. I said fucking Vulcan Heston is the Myron Mixon of 40k Universe. Do you know who that is?
No, I don't. Please enlighten me. My culinary expertise starts and stops at Guy Fieri.
That counts. I'm giving the flavorful
Tarantella.
I'm giving the flavorful one a Tarantella. Myron Mixon is just one of those like celebrity grill guys.
Okay.
He's got a restaurant chain, Myron Mixon's Pit Masters, I want to say. There's one in Alexander. It's really fucking delicious.
Hell yeah.
But then again, if you name your kid Myron, he can be one of two things. One, a celebrity grill guy, or corrupt sheriff in a small town. And that's it.
I'm sorry, that's just name determinism. It's true. So I feel like going to Adthrax Agathon's cookout is going to be a bit of a surprise because...
Double clutched on the Tarantella there, sorry.
Like all salamanders, Adthrax is vegan. So you're going to be like, oh, look at all these sausages and burgers. And you'd be like, guess, take a bite. And you'll be like, this is delicious. What kind of beef is this? And he'd be like, well, I don't feel like they have Impossible Burger in the 40verse Millennium. It's probably also made of skulls, but non-human skulls. But still, it's going to be some sort of like pea protein sort of thing. And
here's the thing about the salamanders.
Yeah.
They are unparalleled craftsmen.
Exactly.
Right? So they are going to take vegan ingredients and they're going to fool all the meat eaters at the cookout into thinking that they're eating actual meat because they're so good at it.
Exactly. And that craft is going to extend to everything. Because, like, yeah, that grill is going to be like, you go to a friend's house and they have, like, your typical, like, $100 Weber grill. You're like, oh, this is a good cookout. Then you go to your other friend's house and they have one of those grills that takes up, like, 2/3 of, like, a parking space alone. That's what his is going to be like. He's going to be toasting the buns with that hand flamer. And he's going to have not just, like, the best craft beer, but he's going to have the chillest outdoor space for hanging out. And he'll be extremely excited to tell you about the deck that you're standing on, how he built that with his own two hands.
Yeah, this can be said for any Salamander's character. But you're describing one of them, but you're really describing all of them, because at Adthrax Agathoni's house, Vulcan Heston's house, the original Vulcan himself, his place, it's all the same. They are chips off the old block, if you will.
Yeah, at Palazzo de Vulcan.
Fuck it, goddamn it. Il Palazzo. Here we go. A lot of Tarantella happening.
In a non-Ultramarine specific segment, too. I'm amazed.
All right. Well, that was one of mine there also with the salamanders. So thanks for that. So why don't you go ahead and steal my last one?
I don't think I'll have stolen your last one.
Well, let's find out, Campbell.
All right. I went with Snagrod, the Arch Arsonist of Charadon.
Okay. You did not steal my last one.
I felt like there was a 1 in 3 chance I'd steal one of yours, but this one I knew wasn't it.
Okay.
So I feel like you don't get a title like Arch Arsonist without spending a lot of time near fire and assumedly a lot of time on, like, not on the grill, but at the grill. You know, Snagrod started by raiding the Imperial agri-world of Badlanding. So, you know, he's going to have the freshest cuts, the choicest veggies, and they're not going to run out anytime soon. And, like, an orc cookout, you're going to not just get, like, groks and whatever, space beef and stuff like that. You're going to get burger squigs, which I imagine are squigs just shaped like fully formed cheeseburgers, buns and all. And they probably talk by opening the burger bun, which I'm very excited about right now.
What is the orc cook called? Food boy?
I'd say, well, food boy sounds like a boy who is food.
Well,
Now,
because
the
there's like
vegan-
mech boy, pain boy,
Soy
weird
boy.
soy boy.
That's the vegan orc. That's the impossible beef orc. I feel like it would probably be a grill boy or a slop boy. Although slop boy could also be the one who cleans out the drops.
Wow, there's a lot of plosives in slop boy.
There
huh?
are a lot of slop. There's a lot of slops and plosive boy. Christ alive. There's a lot of boys, is what I'm getting at. It's boys top to bottom. Just some boys are more attuned to cooking than others.
All right, so I feel like the only drawback to the arch arsonist of Caradon is that he's not actually cooking; he's hosting,
Yeah.
and it's less of a cookout and more of a riot.
It's kind of like a catered riot.
And he's got like food boys who are hanging out with the grill squigs
Yeah.
or the burger squigs.
Burger
or whatever.
squigs.
Yeah, that's
And
good.
the thing is, if you do want to bail, Pedro Cantor's cookout is just on the other side of the fence. So you could
It's
double
right
dip.
there. You could go to that one, and that
Yeah.
one's also like a riot.
Yeah, so long as Cantor doesn't see you come from snag rods, it's all going to be good.
Yeah.
right,
So
so what-
the Crimson Fist? The Crimson is it's actually just a grill mitt. What you don't know is that the Crimson Fists they're just wearing a grill mitt. They're trying to not burn their hands. That's it. That is the Crimson Fist.
I got nowhere to go from there.
Yeah, because it was a hilarious joke.
It was good. I wanted to build on it, but I couldn't really.
All right, last one.
What's your
Here we
final
go.
choice here?
All right, this is experimental,
Okay.
literally. And I got two for this. It's an either or situation. Because I think these two would actually work well together if they met.
Okay.
Fabius Bile
All right.
and Urian Rikarth.
Okay. This is not a party I want to go to.
No. You don't go to this party because it's fun. Well, it's fun for them. You go to this party because they've got just the best meats. Either they captured them via piracy, or they have figured out what the tastiest meat is and have grown it in a lab for the most delicious possible cookout. Now, Campbell, where is this meat from? Don't fucking ask.
Yeah, about to
Just
say.
don't ask. Just enjoy that it tastes so good and try not to think about it too much.
All right. The thing is, you're gonna be like, it's gonna be like getting to be maybe it's kind of sunny. You're gonna sit under the sort of
I
umbrella at
can
the table.
guarantee you. I can guarantee you that Fabius Spile and Urian Rikarth's cookout will not be held at a time when it is sunny. I can fucking guarantee that.
The thing is, like, if there was, I would just imagine like the sort of like beach umbrella they have, just kind of keeping the table shaded, would just be like full of screaming faces, and once in a while you'd have to go up to them with a squirt bottle just to kind of make sure they're moistened.
These I am like getting a very strong What We Do in the Shadows vibe
Yes.
from this.
Yeah.
Oh, you get that reference.
I do. I have seen the film and a few episodes of the show.
Oh, wonderful. With Fabius and Urian Rikarth. And I feel like those two, like personality wise, they probably don't match. But like interest wise,
Yeah.
they're in lockstep.
I also really do like the idea of them just being a couple of bumbling dipshit roommates.
I mean, that's kind of what I don't know much about Urian Rikarth, to be honest, except that he floats around on tentacles.
Yeah.
And likes to torture people.
And wear them as jackets, yeah.
Right. But like wearing people as jackets is a big interest for Fabius Spile. But as far as a bumbling dolt, like Fabius Spile, that's him to a T. Just going around creating mutants everywhere. He can't fucking sit still for 5 minutes without creating some sort of mutant. It's just like, dude, what are you fucking doing? He's like, oh, I can't help it. I get bored. I got to create mutants.
5 more minutes, Mom. Gotta make more mutants.
Fucking Fabius Spile. Okay. All right, Campbell, of the three that you mentioned, where am I going?
I think you're going to go for the Swarm Lords. You seem to be really interested in not just the quantity of meat, not just the depth of meat, but the breadth of meat available at the Swarm Lords Hibachi Cookout.
3-dimensional meat pillar is really like those words put together. I'm ready.
Yeah, you're playing 5-dimensional meat chess right now.
I'm sorry. Like when you combine delicious ground beef with onions and spices and you grind it up and you put it on a sword and then grill that, gang, what else do you fucking want from me?
Yeah.
That's it. That's tops right there.
Honestly, more food should be served on weapons if I'm being straight up about it.
All right, for you, I think you're going to Vulcan or Adrax or the Salamanders.
Yeah, going to my own answer.
Yeah, I think you. Well, yeah, because come on, Harlequins. That's done. That was bad because you didn't get the fucking reference. And Fabius Bile and Erner Karth. Yeah, you'll probably get a good meal out of it, but you're not gonna have a good time.
Yeah, well, the thing is, at the Urian Bile fucking luncheon, you're gonna be like mid-meal and be like, "This is delicious," and he'd be like, "Yes, look below you," and I'll be like, "Oh no, it's my legs."
Oh no, you're eating my legs. Oh, I should have known. I never should have come here. And then there's like mutants, and you're just like, Fabius.
Fabius. What?
Yeah. It's not I feel like that's like a fourth meal though with those two. They're not, that Fabius and Urine are dorks enough that they don't do anything while the sun's out.
Absolutely. No, they're all about the live Moss lifestyle.
It must be nighttime, or I cannot do what I do under the light of the sun. Fabius is just like, I'm gonna wait till my mom goes to bed to make more mutants.
She always gets mad at me when I use the kitchen.
He never cleans up after himself.
He always leaves the oven on.
Oh, what a dipshit that Fabius Bile. Somebody over at Games Workshop listening to this right now and is like, these guys are disrespecting our coolest new Chaos model. Fuck Fabius Bile. He sucks.
Good skullet, though.
Great skullet. We did talk about that last 2 weeks ago, whatever. It doesn't matter. We did talk about that. All right, let's move on. That was a good segment.
Yeah, I'd say so.
What do you think? Was it so stupid that it worked?
I say it was so stupid that it worked, except for the part where you got maybe more disappointed in me than you ever have been before for not knowing a very specific reference.
Well, I'm not going to fight with you about this because you just don't know things, and that's okay, I guess.
I don't take pride in my ignorance. I just don't know things.
I mean, do you not? Do you not sit there and judge me for enjoying sports all the time, Campbell?
Not really, no.
Okay. I didn't think you did.
Very live and let live as far as that goes.
All right, let's move on to our next segment. We're going to talk about, as you know, Campbell, 9th edition. We're in the midst of the release right now, so it would be perfect for the 40k Badcast to talk about, that's right, 8th edition.
For all you who don't know, there's a new edition out.
So we wanted to do an 8th edition retrospective because, quite frankly, 8th edition has been the best time I've had with Warhammer ever.
I'd say it is second only to being like 15 and first coming into the game or so. Like that time is probably like the only other best time for Warhammer ever. And large that is just because I was 15 and had all the time in the world, and my friends had all the time in the world, and we would just play like all the fucking time. Like,
fuck that shit. I can drink now.
That's true.
This is way better than 15.
But I have a lot more stuff to be sad about now than I did when I was 15.
Well, that's why you drink, Campbell.
You have just described my entire family's history. Anyway, 8th edition is on the way out, and in a lot of ways, this show kind of grew alongside 8th, because when we started, 40k was still in 7th, and emphatically
in the
not
death
good.
Throes of 7th edition back in, I guess we started recording in December of 2016.
Yes, and our first episode came out in January, because things take a little while to get edited, holidays, family, and so on.
Well, if I remember correctly, and I don't know if I do, we recorded on the 27th of December, 2016, and I didn't get around to editing it until, did I put it out on the 1st? Time to check.
Yeah, that's it. We didn't have a website when we started.
Let's go. No, because I was just like, fuck it. I'm putting out this podcast. And you're like, what?
But my website.
All right.
January 3rd.
January 3rd. I must have been doing something. I probably was in Pennsylvania with my wife's family before I could come back and edit.
That makes sense.
Because I was still doing everything in the office in those days.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
So, like, And it's very important to think that, like, at this time, I think I was mostly playing Horus Heresy, and I think you were playing, like, Blood Bowl? I don't know.
Yeah,
if you,
Blood.
I didn't think
Blood
you were playing
Bowl,
much 40k.
What was I playing? I was still painting Imperial Guard stuff at this time, just because I was like, I want more of this. I want a Death Strike, or I want a Baneblade, or but it wasn't like I wasn't really playing all that much because, quite frankly, I didn't enjoy it.
Yeah, because
I remember going
enjoyable.
to Nova in 2016 and just going up against like somebody's Death Guard list, and everything had a 2-up cover save, and I didn't. I just had my fucking Steel Legion guys, and so I wasn't rolling around with a bunch of ignores cover bullshit. Like, I didn't have any close combat to speak of, and so it's just like, oh, cool, another unkillable Death Star.
Yeah, unkillable Death Stars were sort of the hallmark of 7th edition. Like, I remember playing this guy, Brad, my old gaming group, who had this, like, block of 10 possessed. They were Crimson Slaughter. They had invisibility, so you could only hit them on 6s, and in hand-to-hand and in shooting, and it was just a fucking mess, and you could never kill them. Yeah. And that's, like, a lot of what 7th edition was either vehicles that if only specific units could really take on, or units that you just kind of couldn't touch. And...
Right.
It was kind of like you had 20 years of bolted on rules without much being cut off, because I don't know if you know about gardening, but you have to prune branches sometimes to make a healthy plant, and they had not done that.
No, they certainly didn't. They just kept adding things on, and it turned the game into just a fucking mess, man. Formations were a thing, and oof, just that word sends shivers down my spine. Yeah, but we're not talking about 7th here. We're not talking about the perfect game. We're talking about 8th. Right. So in June of 2017, they release 8th edition with the Dark Imperium box set, which I bought immediately, and I don't know if you bought it immediately.
I bought it immediately, but I didn't work on it for quite some time, because I was like, oh, cool, new Primaris Marines. Throws that in the closet. Time to paint some small Black Templars.
So 2017 Nova is the first big event with 8th edition, because 8th edition came out in June. Nova, of course, is at the end of August, beginning of September. So just a couple months in, and this was Index Hammer.
Yes, every army got summed up in these indexes, because for the first time since second transition to third in like 1998, everything but the models and dice got scrapped. Like, no codexes, like you could still use them for painting guys or whatever, but like none of the previous rules applied whatsoever. And the indexes just kind of brought everyone to more or less the same spot, and they were kind of a pain to flip through layout wise, but they were rules for everybody from day one, which was really fucking cool.
Yeah, and it really leveled the playing field. It took away a bunch of the crap that a lot of people were used to. And I remember rolling it in Nova 2017 with my Imperial Guard, not really knowing how it's going to go. And then discovering along the way that a brigade of Imperial Guard with a shit ton of Psychers and a shit ton of Leman Russes was pretty fucking strong in those days. So, had a lot of fun with that, but right after that is when I started working on the Primaris Raven Guard, and I kind of haven't looked back as far as 40k goes.
Yeah, I've been like, once I moved over into painting my Primaris Ultramarines, that's almost the only 40k thing I've painted.
I painted some Assassins since then, but I think that's it for 40k. I think it's been nothing but Marines and those Assassins. I haven't touched any new Imperial Guard stuff since probably September of 2017.
Yeah, I think it's been Necromunda stuff, and
it's been
got it. Yes,
good.
Whew. Whew. I missed one last episode.
You did, and I'm just kind of like cautiously waiting. Like, if I say those two words again, you're gonna press the button again, and we'll just continue on in this endless loop of just it's been canceling out, it's been canceling out, it's been canceling out, it's been, and it's a fucking nightmare that we live in right now. You have created a hostile space for us as a podcast and for anyone listening to this show.
It's been
Okay.
1 week since I got sick of that joke. But Ultramarines, Primaris Ultramarines specifically, have been the majority of what I've worked on since I started working on them. I want to get to some of the Templars I've got just to kind of get back in the groove before picking up the Indominus guys, but it's... Fuck. The problem is those are common words.
Say it. Say it. I'm ready. Say it.
It's been a majority Imperial edition for me. All right. I did paint some Valhallans at one point for funsies. But I think you mentioned a brigade of guard.
Yes.
And I think it's really important to note that for people who hadn't played before, the different sort of brigade, patrol, all these different detachments didn't exist before.
No, they totally blew up army construction in 8th edition, where before that it was your force org chart.
Yeah, which meant every army started more or less in the same place, which was 1 to 2 HQs, 2 to 6 troops, 0 to 3 of anything else.
Right. So things were quite a bit different. And that's where formations came in, with allowing people to take different avenues to create their armies, which of course ruined the game completely in 7th edition. But, we're not talking about 7th edition again. Right. So after Nova in 2017 is when the codexes started coming out.
Yeah, and they made the promise that they would put out a codex for every single army within a year, and I think they did it.
I think so too.
It might have been like 13 months, but it was real close to a year.
Right. So you're talking about 1 or 2 codexes a month, basically every month for the first year of 8th edition.
Yeah.
And I got to tell you, but that was a fun time. It really was a fun time. The codex is coming out, and every army is developing its own style and flavor.
Yeah, you ran into some early codex syndrome pretty seriously, which is always the case when things are developed and released over a period of time, as opposed to all at once, like with the indexes.
Right.
But the release schedule was unprecedented, and might be why some of those armies are a bit weaker or stronger than others. And I think it was a really cool thing they delivered on, because the other thing is they let us know this ahead of time. Before the lead up to 8th, GW didn't really have online presence. They didn't really have social media. They didn't have community outreach. And between that and just the accessibility that 8th brought on, you just got this boom in the player base. Like every year before, we lived in Hell World, Adepticon and Nova, which, well, I guess those were also still in Hell World, but a different Hell World, attendance was ballooning every single year. Every group I'm in, any group you're in on Facebook for this sort of thing, you're seeing more and more people, and on Twitter, any sort of social media sort of thing, you're seeing more and more people painting more and more stuff, and you're starting to see a more diverse group of people doing this sort of thing, which is extremely fucking cool.
Well, the company culture over Games Workshop shifted, or at least seemed to. I don't know for sure because I'm not a Games Workshop employee, but the way that they interacted with fans definitely changed, in that spurned a huge growth in organized play all across the world for their products. And they're the 40k community got markedly better over the years during 8th, which is fucking saying something, because it's been kind of a shitty community for a long time.
I mean, I won't shitty might be a little strong, but I would say at the very least insular, really insular.
Okay.
And I mean, parts of it are shitty. Yes. Parts of it were shittier, or that's going to be the case of any sort of fandom sort of thing, unfortunately. But with 8th and over the course of 8th, it didn't feel like it was just the same, 200 people,
Yep.
You were seeing new voices.
Let's move on to 2018.
Okay.
Where Adepticon 2018 in March of 2018. Now, between September of 2017 and March of 2018, I painted about 1,850 points of Raven Guard. Okay. In those, 6 months?
Yeah.
3 months?
Oh, that was months? When you were furiously dry brushing that repulsor the night before, right?
Yeah, the night before I left for Adepticon.
Yeah.
So I got a shit ton of painting done. I was up until 3 or 4 a.m. for months, every night for months. Mm-hmm. It was insane. But I did it, and I got this army done for Adepticon 2018, which was, of course, a ton of fun because it's fucking Adepticon.
Yeah.
Adepticon is always a ton of fun. I hope that we get to do it again at some point in the future. We're in the middle of not in the middle. We're still at the beginning of 8th. This is when the rule of 3 wasn't introduced, but the cause for introducing it came in because the apocryphal story or the anecdotal story is that the Games Workshop gang went up in the Adepticon team tournament against one of those like 6 flying hive tyrant lists.
Yeah.
And we're like, this fucking sucks. We're going to change it. And where the rule of 3 came out, which is, of course, you can only have 3 versions of the same data sheet in each army.
Yeah. I think things like that are just kind of a highlight of how mutable this edition was. Because I don't want to say volatile because that makes it sound a lot worse than it is. But this was an edition that was the closest we've really come to a living game.
Yeah.
With previous editions, in part because of just, when 3rd edition came out, what do you know? You couldn't really do like online updates like you can now.
Right.
Or at least you couldn't count people to download them. But nowadays, or at least over the course of 8th, like they've had a schedule for FAQs, they've had a schedule for like chapter approved books coming out every year, which changed the game fundamentally. And it's just been really cool to see this game live and grow, not just in the player base, but in the rules. Like, I won't say 8th edition now is unrecognizable from 8th edition at the beginning of it, but I'd say like it's markedly different. And from the sounds of it, 9th edition is largely just sort of a consolidation, cleanup of a lot of these sorts of things to make a bit more of a concise game out of it.
Yeah, well, we can talk about what 9th edition is in another show.
Yes.
So
once I've played it and or read it more than once.
Yeah. So summer 2019 comes around, or 2018 rather comes around, and eventually Marines get another codex.
Yes, and I think and that's when we're leading into Nova 2018. And
yes,
that is when I paint 2,000 points of knights in like a month.
It is. So in 1 year, both of us went a little crazy with painting.
Yes, and made both of our respective partners very upset.
This is also when I went crazy with the Astreus.
Oh, yeah, and then I blew it up with a fucking harpoon gun. I will say that was my highlight of 8th altogether, but that is one of my highlights of 8th. That is one of the crowns and the jewel of 8th edition in my mind.
I believe it. I'm looking at it. It's in my fucking display case right now. I can see it staring at me.
Exploding 2d6 inches, yeah.
So 2018, 2017, these events that we went to, tons of fun. Marines actually got pretty good with that book, the second codex of 8th edition. So 2018 went well for me, and that was my first Nova coming out with the old Marines, the old Raven Guard. So it was a lot of really good times. And then Adepticon 2019, Campbell.
Yeah.
And you have to remind me, is this one you could not go on?
No, I couldn't go to 2018.
2018, but you were at 20. That's right. That's
2019.
when you got the 3 medals.
Yeah, that's the thing. 2019 is my highlight, or Adepticon 2019 specifically is my highlight of 8th edition. Because with the full knowledge, I didn't get to go to Adepticon 2018 or Nova 2019, and 2020 was canceled for both of these. But like, I feel like Adepticon 2019, the game was in a very good place because I think pretty much everybody had a codex at that point. I think.
Yeah.
You didn't have all the Psychic Awakening books coming out and like kind of changing things up. I don't even think Vigilus was out yet. Yeah,
I think the first Vigilus was out.
Maybe the first one was out, yeah. But it was basically like your codex, the rules, chapter approved, and that's it. Like everyone kind of was on the same page. The community had like matured over the course of 8th to be not just like the old friends we're used to from these conventions, but like new people or people coming back to the game. And I'm not just saying Adepticon 2019 was my favorite because of the sheer volume of medals around my neck at any given time, but it definitely contributed. But I feel like it was just such a healthy, the game and the community were both in a much healthier place than they were at, Adepticon 2017 or Nova 2018.
Yeah. Well, unfortunately, you had to miss 2019, but it was Nova 2019 that is, but it was a similar situation with the community, with the way that everything was going, and just the camaraderie.
Yeah, like again, these events, like it's not just, hanging out and playing games for a couple days. It is the camaraderie and the friendships, the new ones and the old ones that you make, that make them so appealing. And all the more reason I can't wait for this fucking pandemic to be over so I can go to these things again. Among a lot of other things, but
Yeah. Oh my God. Bud, I hope somebody fucking figures out a vaccine or something, because I don't think the states are ever going to have the discipline to actually get this virus down to manageable levels so that we can go out and do stuff without a fucking vaccine.
Nope, certainly not. But
yeah,
let's not navel gaze too hard here. Let's try to bring it back up.
All right, so let's quickly talk about some of the aspects of 8th edition that we liked, and then we can let's end on a positive note. So let's talk a little bit about the things about 8th edition that we didn't like so much, and I'll start.
Okay.
And I think at the end of 8th edition, we were running into what 7th edition had, which is just runaway rules bloat. With the Psychic Awakenings, with the new codexes for a couple armies, and the weight of facts and frequently asked questions and erratas and stuff. It was just a lot to get through.
Yeah. There were a few hoops you had to jump through to build an army at that point, just because you have to make sure you had all the right things. You had to make sure you even had the right edition of the 8th edition Space Marine Codex.
Right.
And the Codex Supplement. I like a lot of the things these things bring, but they definitely were getting a little bit bloated. And I have solutions. I have ideas for how to solve a few of those problems, but whatever. That's neither here nor there. I think I agree with you there. We've both been pretty down on the Psychic Awakening books pretty largely on this show. It's just kind of I feel like Games Workshop had a year of just we have a new book every month. We gotta keep up that momentum and just keep doing a new book every month. What can we do instead?
Right. Yeah.
And that's kind of where Psychic Awakening came through. And I know it kind of serves as bridging the gap between 8th and 9th in a lot of ways, but I don't know anybody who really kept up with it. I play Black Templars, and I didn't even pick up the one that has Black Templar rules in it.
It's funny because I picked up that one. Well, that one has a bunch of Space Marine character rules in it, so I was like, fuck it, yeah. Yeah, so, but there's so many things that we did that I think we liked about 8th edition, that it smoothed out the game for the most part. It took away the vehicle rules, which I have come to absolutely fucking love.
Yeah. Let's think, the 8th edition rules are shorter than the 7th edition vehicle rules.
Oh, yeah.
Just those.
And, well, that's not necessarily true, because there were tons of quote unquote advanced rules that you didn't have to play with, that everybody played with anyways, that bulked up the rule page count. But you're onto something there.
I think it's 27 pages of vehicle rules in the 7th edition rulebook or something.
Oh, it's awful. That. It's completely awful.
Yeah.
I remember in early 8th, it took me a while to figure out that vehicles work differently. And when it did, I never looked back. I don't think I even remember the vehicle rules from 7th or 6th or 5th or 4th anymore.
I kind of miss a little bit of the tactical positioning of getting rear armor. I kind of miss that a little bit, but it's a small sacrifice to make for the ease of play and not having to worry about these sorts of things.
If you didn't have a fucking tank that was a square, a non-Imperial tank, just the arguments over what's side and rear armor and shit. Oh, God, spare me.
Don't miss it. I don't miss that. But the thing is, it was a massive streamlining of the rules, and I don't think that can really be understated. If you've come to the game new, I don't think you quite get how bloated it was.
Oh, and look back to 2017 to Index Hammer, and just how much of an incredible change that was.
Yeah.
Going from 7th edition, this leaning tower of bolted on bullshit, to the very lean rule set for early 8th edition. We've had feedback on the show where people talk about how Index Hammer was their favorite iteration of 8th, which I understand, but I don't necessarily agree with.
I get it too, though, because also it was the easiest 40k ever was to play.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
The thing is, actually, the big thing they really did out with this edition, I think, is the game changer are stratagems and command points.
Yes,
and I don't like how every army kind of became how to get the most command points, how to recycle the most command points. It kind of became hinged around those command points, but I really do like the system as a whole. And in Index Hammer, you only had the 3 core stratagems of a reroll, an auto pass morale, and I think it was a fight again.
Fight interrupt.
A fight interrupt, that was it. And I liked that. I like having those sort of bits to play around with, but having every codex have its own group of them kind of was the double-edged sword of introducing really flavorful, cool rules that really interact nicely with an army versus having 3 to 4 pages or an entire deck of cards worth of these things, some of which you'll never use.
Yeah.
And you know what? I'll just say it right now. My way I would have fixed that would be to have it be a deck building thing. Like you can take 10 stratagems, fucking build your deck. There's my fucking junior game designer hat on idea for how to fix stratagem bloat. But
that would have been good, yeah.
But that aside, like I still think the stratagem system as a whole is fucking cool. I think it's a really great way to bring in those characterful rules that you get kind of in the older editions, but in a very specific way where it matters. And introducing resource management and giving you more choices to make, I think, is always a plus.
Yeah, and I think that I think that you're right. Like from a game design standpoint, you're adding a whole nother very interesting and engaging level to managing your army. But for me, I think the most important part of 8th edition is just the resurgence of interest, enthusiasm, and optimism for the hobby.
Yeah,
that we saw since 2017. Oh God.
It's been.
We've had such a fun time with 8th, with people coming back into the hobby, with these events just exploding with the amount of people that are going to them, and the times that we've been able to spend with our friends that has revolved around this game. And like I truly think that this has really been the best time of my life in the hobby so far.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think with previous editions, there'd be some excitement about like, maybe this will be even better, or maybe this will fix the problems of the previous edition. And sometimes they did, but with 6th and especially 7th, they didn't. And being a 40k player was kind of a death march. Like going onto any sort of forum or discussion group was going to be pretty rough much of the time.
And I remember like you and I were pretty much avoiding playing 40k.
Yeah, I was playing Age of Sigmar
2017.
And, it was Age of Sigmar, Necromunda, and Horus Heresy.
Yeah.
But the thing is that enthusiasm and excitement that came at the start of the edition was more or less maintained, and I think that's what's really special. Because the day we got 8th edition, like it was a bunch of my old Dork and Morka crew and I, like we went to Alpha Omega and Quincy, picked up the starter set, picked up the rule books, picked up the indexes, and like Dylan and I put together a quick power level game that was, it was a lot of fun. It was really novel, learning all these things as we played, and we played it fast. Like it was 3 hours for a learning.
Oh God, 8th edition went so fast compared to 7th.
Yeah, but 3 hours was a learning game at 2,000 points, and we with beers and hanging out, and explaining rules and looking them up, that's crazy good time, especially for how it being a whole new edition. And that day was just a bunch of games going on, and we were looking at the rule books going oh, look at this cool thing my guys can do now, look at this cool thing. And that excitement I hadn't really had since I was a teenager. And I remember looking over the 5th edition rule book in the backseat of my dad's car with a few of my friends when you're driving to Historicon, and just our minds being blown out how cool this whole thing was. And I hadn't had that sort of glee and enthusiasm for this hobby quite the same way since then. And I won't say the novelty of that moment kept going for 4 years or whatever, but that enthusiasm was definitely carried through now.
Yeah. Well, 8th edition, we hardly knew you.
Yeah. I'm
That's not true. I played more games of 8th edition than I think I played 6th, 7th, and potentially even 4th or 5th combined.
Actually, that might be true for me too. With all the events we went to and tournaments, I went to tournaments, multiple tournaments in 8th edition.
So did I,
and had a good time at them. It's fucking wild.
I won one.
I won an Age of Sigmar tournament. Actually, I have the medals to prove I won one. What am I talking about?
Yeah. Well, it was a great time. And gang, if you all want to reach out to us and talk about your great 8th edition memories, feel free to do so. Contact at 40kbadcast.com is our email address. We'd love to hear from you to talk about your experiences with 8th edition. But let's move on, Campbell, to our greatest and worst, the alpha and the omega of our show, fact or fan fiction. Still haven't made a stinger. We'll have to sometime in the future. But please, Campbell, wow me tonight. Wow me.
Whew. See, I hate it when you set me up because it makes me feel like I'm going to disappoint you too hard.
Well, Campbell, you've already disappointed me quite a bit in this episode, so what's a little bit more?
That's true. Please try to ignore that in my performance review.
You're lucky that was last week. Or last episode,
Whatever,
rather.
Yeah. A cold breeze pierces his flesh.
Ooh.
Brother Jaska and his Noise Marine squad fired volleys of high-frequency blasts into the Cornate wave, but to no used. They reached Jaska's flank, Jaska's is plural, and tore him asunder. Gore and bloodied pieces of pink and black armor covered the snow. A flurry of spiked ancient drop pods rained down. The World Eater is turned around, gleefully running towards the newcomers. A towering winged giant came screaming down as he rose from the dust and snow. Saw he had gray flesh, a tunned human body, and long silvery hair. Two giant purple eyes looked down on them. Shadowbrand looked down at the mortals. The horde was silent as he drove a giant demon glaive into their rank. Shadowbrand turned as his warriors just now emptied their drop pods, their blue armor glowing in the snow. Lord Shadowbrand, a Noise Marine stuttered. Yes, Captain Immortal? The World Eaters have set up a gun line. Stolen whirlwinds cover the past where Eidolon is rallying the other Emperor's children. The demon smiled. So they really have resorted to using Loya's scum tanks? The Marine began their march in the cold. Have the fool who made our drop pods miss their rallying point executed, Immortal gulped. Yes, Lord Shadowbrand. As they marched up a frozen hill, they saw more and more corpses. Deep down, Shadowbrand had no care for the other Emperor's children. He only came to this battle to seek the favor of his deity. They reached a ruined building. Inside, not a rat stirred, no sign of life from either force. The demon had to duck to enter the doorway. The brave warriors reached an underground passageway. If we go through here, maybe we can reach the rallying point safer. Whichever gets this over with, I'll be fine with, the demon protested, so they went down.
This fucking voice.
A group of spawn and possessed charged in the darkness. The hallways soon were loud with gurgled screams and high-pitched whines. One of the possessed drove their claws right into Shadowbrand's chest. Grah! He picked up the twisted Marine and tore him in two, throwing the top half into the ranks of the damned. I really wish you wouldn't do that! A blastmaster went off, sending bits of twitching flesh flying around. You sure this would be safer, Captain? The Marine checked the corners with his bolter searchlight. Yeah, I'm sorry, my lordship. The end.
Wow. That is good. The thing that makes it for me are the voices.
It's all I got.
You've got so much to offer. I've completely turned around on this disappointment game. Man. I'm sorry that I made those remarks earlier, Campbell.
I appreciate that, but
I'm just going to need you to spend a lot more time being online.
That's what I've got to do, is be more online. Capital M, capital O, more online. I'll do my best. Anyways, but yeah, that's besides the point. I need you to answer the question here, which is this fact or is this fiction?
Now, one of the things that immediately tips me off to fan fiction when it shows up is grammatical errors. And we've dealt with this before, where you've read me fan fiction that didn't have grammatical errors, and it confused and scared me.
It does exist. It's dubiously out there, but it does exist.
But unfortunately, this is not one of those examples. With this many grammatical errors, it can only be fan fiction.
You are correct. This is A Tale of the Revenant is Scalathrax. And this is by someone who goes by Shadowbrand over on Daka. And yes, this stars
some self-insert fan fiction.
This stars a big buff demon who has gray-toned flesh human body. This sort of thing happens a lot, where you have people who their username is also coincidentally the name of the main character of their fan fiction. It's weird how common that is.
I love me a self-insert fan fiction, bud.
I do too. I really do. And speaking of self-insert fan fiction,
oh hell yes,
it is time to make another plug for the 40k cross-function challenge.
God damn it! I can't believe we're actually still using.
We are, and challenge is spelled with a K.
we had 2 weeks to come up with a better name, and we didn't do it.
It's the one that comes most organically, and 40k cross-function challenge is the one that comes most organically. The due date for this is, I think, August 15th. It's sometime in mid-August. And this is a crossover fan fiction challenge. 40k crossing over with anything. Again, if you're doing something like Sonic the Hedgehog, you got to put in some extra work to really make it funny. But go for something that's like a page long, no longer than that, and email us your
listeners. Oh my God, listeners. We've already got a couple that are just so awful, so incredibly awful that I can't even begin to describe them.
And you too can write something indescribably awful and send it to contact@40kbadcast.com. You can email us your 40k cross-function challenges there, or you can just email us there to talk to us about pets, wargaming, whatever. Send us pics of either, whatever. Like, contact@40kbadcast.com.
But seriously, 40k cross-function challenge. Give us material that we can read for you, listener.
The winners will be read on air, and
then we'll read the rest of them on a bad boy or fuck boy episode for the Patreon subscribers, which is a great segue.
Yes, because we are on Patreon, patreon.com/40kbadcast for all sorts of stuff. We're up to like 2 years worth of this stuff. So we recently recorded July's bonus episode. So we're on schedule again, and that'll be out hopefully by the time you hear this.
Yeah, maybe.
I said hopefully. I didn't say it was a guarantee, but it'll hopefully be out by this time.
Honestly, I'll probably work on this one before I finish that one, just because there's still some headroom in July.
All right. Well, beyond that, if you do want to support the show, Patreon is the main place to do it, but you can also go to our Spreadshirt, shop.spreadshirt.com/40kbadcast. It's summer, so sun's out, guns out. Grab yourself a Cult of the Swarmed Emperor tank.
Dude, I when I went to the beach, I wore nothing but tank tops.
Hell yeah.
And since I came back, I have tried to keep that going.
It's a powerful look. It's a powerful
when
aesthetic.
You don't have to leave your house, Campbell. You don't have to cover your arms.
Yeah.
And you can just look like shit. I haven't shaved in like 3 or 4 weeks at this point. It's growing. I don't know why.
Oh.
I was just like, you know what? Fuck it. I don't feel like shaving anymore.
Hell yeah, man. Your body. You own it.
I'm just doing it over here.
Yeah. So for all your, I assume, shoulder hair shaving needs, you can also go to Goonhammer. We both write there. I recently wrote a fucking way too many words about Cities of Sigmar and getting started with that army. I should have some reviews of those Napoleonic models pretty soon.
There's a fly down here.
Oh.
Now it's like a Nurgle themed show. I see it on the window.
Shit. Well, we better get out of here before things get too bad.
I could reach up and grab one of my bobbleheads from my bobblehead collection and throw it at the fly, but it would probably break the window.
And maybe the bobblehead, and also probably not kill the fly.
Right. It would be a disaster.
Yeah. So spare yourself some disaster and wait for this to be over. And then you can hit it with a rolled up magazine like the rest of us do.
I'm going to try to trap it and then release it safely outside.
Huh. Yeah, I'll do that for like a chipmunk or a mouse or something like that. But insects in my house, they get no clemency.
So what did we not plug yet?
Plug
Twitter?
Patreon, plug Patreon. I just said plug Patreon 3 times.
We did that.
Spreadshirt, Goonhammer, the 40k cross-function challenge.
What? I did a recent episode, a recent article on, well, I always do a recent article on Goonhammer because I have a fucking weekly column. But I did a recent article about Crusade.
Ooh, hell yeah.
So if you are curious about Crusade and narrative play in 9th edition, head on over.
And last but definitely least, we are both on social media. If you go to Twitter, Dan is DB_sleazy. I am @BrotherSRM, where you can see bad opinions but good models from both of us.
I like how you're doing the plugs this episode.
Yeah, I feel like I'm fucking at sea right now and my life preserver is running out of air.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, thanks. You've done a great job once again.
Thanks. Please note that in my performance review. And
you're so lucky they were last week.
If you don't have anything left to plug, I think it's time we get the fuck out of here.
Well, Campbell, as you know, on this show, we like to end on a quote.
Why are you edging me so hard right now?
We like to end on a quote that you normally. How about you send me the quote via Discord and I'll read it this time. Just for fun.
Sure. Let me just copy paste this, and it hopefully won't preserve the horrific formatting that happens when I copy paste these off other websites.
Yeah, I don't ever want to see your show notes because I think it would kill me.
Well, anyway, you have the inspo. Tell us the inspo.
What's that?
Inspirational quote. Inspo. You know, it's a new word. I'm trying to make it work.
Thanks. I hate it.
It's also in all my show notes.
All right. Is it really?
Yeah.
You know what that means. You know what this means. I'll give you one chance to spare yourself what that means if you apologize for it right now.
I apologize for nothing. I'm wearing that toilet flush like a badge of honor upon my lapel.
All right, here's the quote. You ready?
Yeah.
The keenest blade is righteous hatred.
Hell yeah, it is.
All right, gang. We're the 40k Badcast. We are bad at 40k. We're bad at lots of other things, and you can too. And we will see ya
in the next cartoon. Yeah, I did it to you this time.
Got him.
By him, you mean you. Yeah, got me. Classic that guy.